Matt Pinfield. I'm your host for the next 120 minutes here on MTV. In just a few minutes, the Georgia band Magnapop will be here to hang out and talk with us about their new album, Rubbing Doesn't Help. Plus, we've got new videos from Grantley Buffalo, Joan Osborne, Cast, Jail, Spooky Rubin, Orbital, Ryan Down, and Prong. We'll also be showing you a sneak preview of the new video from Hole, which premieres on MTV later this week, and it's a cover of an old Fleetwood Mac song. To kick things off, though, it's the latest from The Cure. It's the second clip off their latest album, Wild Mood Swings. It was shot in a London soundstage. It took about 12 hours of shooting time so that Robert Smith had all the time to do his costume changes because he was pretty elaborate. Here's The Cure with Mint Car on 120 minutes. And that's a little bit of Lay It Down, going back to hot boxing. Welcome back to 120 Minutes. I'm Matt Pinfield, and I'm here with Linda, Ruthie, Shannon, and Mark of Magnapop. Good to see you.
Hi, nice to be here.
Thanks for coming to hang. Now, you're from the Atlanta, Athens area, is basically where you were formed. And Linda, you were in OK originally, too, right? That was,
I can't believe you know that.
And Matthew Sweet was part of it for a while, too.
Right.
I remember that record cover. It kind of had the
kind
of cartoony thing going on. But that's cool. So how did you actually hook up with the rest of the band and form Magnapop?
I was living in Atlanta and looking for a direction. I kept doing music, but I didn't have my own band. And a mutual friend of mine and Ruthie's, he had been hanging out with Ruthie and knew that she was looking to get something done and knew that I wanted to have someone to write with. And Andrew introduced us.
And the rest is history. That's cool. You did your first EP with Michael Stipe producing, actually. How did that whole thing come about from the scene there in the Athens, Atlanta?
Completely by accident. It wasn't supposed to be a record. So he produced about 4 to 8 bands during that time period, and just came up to us after our first show in Athens, and actually came up to me and asked me if he could produce us. But it was never meant to be anything more than, demos. So.
And an EP, and then of course Hot Boxing came out after that, and that was, you worked with Bob Mould. Was Bob someone you admired that you decided that you'd like to have doing the production on the record?
Totally. We worked with another really great producer, Ted Nicely, too, before then, and he's done a lot of amazing stuff.
He's done Fugazi, Tommy Keene.
Girls Against Boys, and from him we went on to Bob. Bob was interested in doing it, and we sort of knew him a little bit, but he let us know that through a mutual friend that he'd be interested. And it sounded like a great thing at the time.
Yeah, he's an amazing guy. He really is.
Worked out great.
Yeah, no doubt. We'll be talking more with these folks in a minute, but right now it's a brand new one from Joan Osborne. This next song was actually the first single off her debut album, Relish, but she's now re-releasing it. She directed the video herself. It's got a Salvador Dali kind of surreal feeling going on. It's called St. Teresa, and it's new in 120 minutes. From their debut album, All Changed, that's the Liverpool band Cast with a brand new video for Sandstorm here in 120 minutes. I'm Matt Pinfield, I'm talking with Magnapop. I'm here with Shannon, Mark, Ruthie, and Linda. It's good to have you all here. Now, the new album's called Rubbing Doesn't Help, and this time around you worked with Geza X. Is that how it's pronounced, or is it Geza X, right?
You got it right.
I remember he did records on Posh Boy years ago and was part of the LA scene, but he hasn't really, done records in a long time. How did you end up deciding on him as a producer?
He came to us by way of a person at our record label. Kevin Moran introduced us, and he was basically going to help us make demos, and one thing sort of just led to another. We were working in his garage studio, and it really worked out for us just to keep it very low-key.
Really, like, stripped down and,
Just no big deal. Go into the house, have coffee, go into the garage, make noise.
When we made the record before, we were at Willie Nelson's studio, which was completely strange because it's country, so everything's like for your knees, sitting down. So we had to like lean down to talk.
Yeah.
So it was completely different. It was like going into the bathroom was part of the drum room.
Really?
Yeah. But also Willie Nelson's studio was repossessed by the IRS, so it lent itself to even more interesting stuff.
Wow.
It's the cut and putt. But another thing about Geza is that he lives with Josie Cotton.
Really, that's right. It all goes back to the whole early LA new wave scene and post-punk. That's pretty wild. All right, we're going to come back in a minute. We'll be talking more with Magnapop, and right after the break, we'll play their new video. It's a great one. It's called Open the Door. First, here's a look at the top 10 singles on alternative radio this week. Welcome back to 120 Minutes. I'm Matt Pinfield here with Magnapop. Now, Mark, you're new in the band, actually. You are
true.
the new drummer. Tell me how you hooked up with the rest of the band.
Actually, I heard they were looking and talked with Linda a couple times. And oddly enough, I'm from Florida originally, so we're all sort of from there at one point or another. And first time I played with them, it felt great. So what more can I say?
You're in the band, man.
I'm in the
the
band.
butter or something.
It's the truth.
You're
though,
cool
too
now
bad.
you're in, so it's all right. But you were a fan of the band's. Let's talk about Open the Door. We're going to see that video in a minute. It's an amazing song, and it's an incredible video, too. There's a lot of really interesting imagery in the song. The song deals with the subject matter of losing people around you, people dying around you. In the last couple of weeks, I had lost actually 2 friends to parent suicides. And you know, you sort of deal with that whole mortality thing and things that are going on around you. The lyrics of the song, tell me about how you came up with that. Was that kind of thing happening to you?
Yes, it was. The lyrics came really fast because I had gone back to a town I had left. And in the process of doing that, so many people had left, had changed, had gone on, had died, a lot of death. And it was a frustration I felt inside myself about why things like this happened. I haven't completely reckoned with the whole concept of death, and it's pretty much on the forefront of my mind all the time. So it was very natural for me to go there, and the feeling of everything is good these days, but all my friends are dying is completely how I felt. It was what was happening in my life.
Yeah, well, it's an amazing song. People, check out the video right now. There's some really amazing imagery in it, too. All right, now we're going to play the first video off Rubbing Doesn't Help. This is Open the Door from Magnapop on 120 Minutes.
Everything is good these days, but all of my friends are dying. Davy May and Lisa May, but nobody else really wants to stay. Nobody else really wants to stay. Open the door. Candle
his latest album, Calling Up Spirits. That's Dick Dale with the Wedge Paladizo here on 120 Minutes. Dick Dale, the Surf King himself. I'm Matt Pinfield, and I've been talking with Magnapop. So, the Atlanta scene, are you still in touch with a lot of the bands that you started out with in the Atlanta, Athens scene out there?
Yes and no. Some of them that are still doing it, but it's playing music is a hard thing to do. And at some point, either it's your hobby or it's a choice. So you sort of miss each other, especially being on tour.
Mm. Yeah. It's a tough thing to do for a living, really.
Yeah. Or everybody do it.
Yeah, exactly.
I mean, you have to be really committed to it, regardless. It's that kind of thing.
There's only one reason to do it.
Yeah, I mean, your love for it. Shannon, you can answer this question.
Sure.
What was different about recording Rubbing Doesn't Help than doing hot boxing in the past? How did you approach things differently on this album?
This Rubbing Doesn't Help was made a little more for us this time, I think. When we did hot boxing, we were on a time restraints. I mean, it had to be done now. And Rubbing Doesn't Help, we were relaxed. Geza was relaxed. The house was relaxed. And, the record sounds warmer, I think, because of it.
Yeah.
It's a lot. It sounds like us. And that's like such a silly thing to say in a way, but it does sound like us. It's warm.
It's real warm.
Like us.
That's right, you are. It's a very warm feeling here. Definitely. Yeah, but it's a really excellent album.
Thanks.
And the singles give people a really great taste of it, too, because, like I said, if you really like that video and you like that song, check out the album as well. I want to thank you for coming by. It was great to have you here, by the way.
Thanks for having
us. Good luck with the tour and everything else that's going on. Stick around because we've got a sneak preview of the new Hole video coming up. And right after the break, we've got Nada Surf. Right?